Imagine a world, not so long ago, a world blanketed in ice where magnificent mammoths roamed the vast frozen plains. In this world, we were not the only humans. We shared the forests and valleys of Europe and Asia with our close relatives, the Neanderthals. They were shorter and stockier than us, with broad chests and strong bodies perfectly suited to the cold. For tens of thousands of years, these two branches of the human family tree lived side by side. They hunted the same animals, gathered the same plants, and sometimes they even met and started families together. They were resourceful and intelligent, crafting tools and caring for their sick and elderly. But then, around 40,000 years ago, something happened. As our own ancestors, the early modern humans, continued to thrive and spread across the globe, the Neanderthals began to vanish. Their campfires went out one by one, their voices fell silent, and eventually, they disappeared from the earth forever. For decades, scientists have wondered why. Was it the changing climate that made it harder for them to find food? Was it competition with the newcomers for resources? Or was the answer hidden somewhere much, much smaller, deep inside their very bodies? The mystery of their departure is one of the greatest stories in human prehistory. Understanding their world is like looking in a distant mirror. They were not brutish cavemen, as they were once imagined, but a sophisticated and successful people who survived for hundreds of thousands of years in a challenging world. They had their own cultures, their own skills, and their own ways of life. They were different from us, yes, but they were also incredibly similar. Exploring why they disappeared is not just about understanding them. It is also about understanding ourselves and the long winding path that led to us being the only humans left on the planet. Their story is a powerful reminder of how fragile life can be. The clues to solving this ancient puzzle are scattered across time, buried in the earth in the form of fossilized bones and stone tools. Each discovery, no matter how small, adds another piece to the picture. Scientists work like detectives, piecing together evidence from caves where Neanderthals once lived, analyzing the marks on animal bones to see what they ate, and studying their skeletons to learn how they grew. But in recent years, a revolutionary new kind of clue has emerged, one that has opened a window directly into the biological world of the Neanderthals and offered a startling new explanation for their fate. This clue is not made of bone or stone, but of ancient DNA. Every living thing, from the smallest insect to the largest whale, carries a special instruction manual inside each of its cells. This manual is called DNA, and it holds all the information that makes you, you. It determines the color of your eyes, the shape of your nose, and how your body works. The individual instructions within this manual are called genes. You inherit your genes from your parents, which is why you might have your mother's smile or your father's hair. Genes are the tiny blueprints of life, passed down through generations, telling a story that stretches back thousands and thousands of years. They connect us to our most ancient ancestors. For a long time, we thought the stories held within the genes of long-extinct beings like the Neanderthals were lost forever. But scientists have developed incredible techniques that allow them to find and read DNA from ancient bones and teeth. This field of study is called paleogenetics, and it is like a form of genetic archaeology. Researchers carefully drill into fossils, collect tiny amounts of bone powder, and use powerful computers to piece together the fragments of ancient DNA they find. It is incredibly difficult work, as the DNA is often broken and damaged, but the results can be astonishing, revealing secrets about the past that we could never have known otherwise. Through this amazing science, we have learned that the story of humans and Neanderthals is more intertwined than we ever imagined. We now know that when our ancestors met Neanderthals, they had children together. Because of this, Many people alive today, whose ancestors came from Europe or Asia, carry a small amount of Neanderthal DNA in their own genetic instruction manual, usually around 2%. This is a living echo of our shared past, a reminder that they are not entirely gone. They live on, in a small way, inside of us, influencing things like our immune systems and our ability to adapt to different climates. But this mixing of genes also led scientists to a curious observation. While we find plenty of Neanderthal DNA in our modern genomes, one part is mysteriously missing. We do not seem to have inherited any mitochondrial DNA from them. This type of DNA is passed down only from a mother to her children. Its absence suggests that while Neanderthal men and human women could have healthy babies that grew up to pass on their genes, the reverse might not have been true. Perhaps when a Neanderthal woman carried a hybrid baby, something went wrong. A new clue found in a single gene may finally explain why. Recently, scientists have focused their attention on one specific gene called PSO1. This gene plays a very important role in our bodies. It gives instructions for building a special protein that helps control the shape and function of our red blood cells. These are the tiny, disc-shaped cells that travel through our blood, carrying life-giving oxygen from our lungs to every other part of our body. The way our red blood cells work is crucial for our survival, especially for a developing baby inside its mother's womb, which depends entirely on the mother's blood for its oxygen supply. It is a delicate and essential system for life. It turns out that Neanderthals and early modern humans had slightly different versions or variants of this PSO1 gene. The Neanderthal version seems to have made their red blood cells hold onto oxygen more tightly. This might have been an advantage in the cold climates where they lived, perhaps helping them conserve heat and energy. Modern humans, on the other hand, had a variant that allowed their red blood cells to release oxygen more easily. Both versions worked perfectly fine on their own, within their respective populations. The problem, scientists now believe, arose when these two different genetic systems were mixed. Imagine a Neanderthal mother pregnant with a hybrid baby, one who inherited the modern human version of the PSO1 gene from its father. The mother's body, with its Neanderthal gene, is programmed to deliver oxygen in a certain way. But the fetus, with its human gene, is expecting to receive oxygen in a different way. This mismatch could have created a dangerous conflict. The mother's blood might not have been able to release enough oxygen to meet the baby's needs. This condition, known as fetal hypoxia, can have devastating consequences for a developing baby inside the womb. This genetic incompatibility could have led to serious health problems. A baby not getting enough oxygen might not grow properly, could be born too small, or could suffer from developmental issues. In many cases, it might have led to a miscarriage, meaning the pregnancy would end before the baby could be born. Even if the baby survived, it might have been less healthy and had a lower chance of reaching adulthood. This single genetic conflict, repeated over and over again whenever a Neanderthal mother carried a hybrid child, could have had a profound and tragic impact on the Neanderthal population as a whole. If Neanderthal mothers struggled to have healthy hybrid children, it would have slowly but surely reduced their ability to reproduce successfully. For any population to survive, it needs to have enough babies to replace the individuals who die. Even a small drop in the birth rate over many generations can be disastrous. For the Neanderthals, who already lived in small, scattered groups, this genetic issue could have been like a slow-burning fuse. It would have meant fewer and fewer Neanderthal children being born, causing their population to shrink over time and pushing them into what scientists call an extinction spiral. This genetic theory also helps to explain that curious puzzle of the missing mitochondrial DNA. If most successful hybrid children were born to human mothers and Neanderthal fathers, then only the human mother's mitochondrial DNA would be passed down. The children of Neanderthal mothers, who would have carried Neanderthal mitochondrial DNA, may have rarely survived. This elegant explanation fits the genetic evidence we see in people today perfectly. It paints a picture not of violent conflict, but of a quiet, biological tragedy that unfolded over thousands of years, contributing to the slow disappearance of our closest relatives. Of course, it is very unlikely that this one gene was the single reason the Neanderthals went extinct. Their disappearance was almost certainly the result of many different pressures happening at once. The world they lived in was changing rapidly. The climate was fluctuating, forests were shrinking, and the large animals they hunted were becoming scarcer. At the same time, they faced increasing competition from the growing populations of modern humans, who may have had more advanced tools or wider social networks. The PIZO1 gene incompatibility was likely just one more challenge, one more piece of bad luck that, when combined with everything else, was too much to overcome. Studying the fate of the Neanderthals is a profound journey into our own past. By understanding the genetic threads that connected and separated us, we learn more about the intricate story of human evolution. Their tale is a sobering reminder that survival is never guaranteed, and that even a small change can have enormous consequences over time. The Neanderthals may be gone, but their story, written in their bones and in our own DNA, continues to teach us valuable lessons about resilience, adaptation, and the complex and sometimes fragile nature of life itself on our remarkable planet.